How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys don't want access to the private repository, there's a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to get access to that. Now, that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Last episode, we went ahead and made it so we can type out messages down here. What we want to go ahead and work on today is being able to click this guy open, click on the image icon here, and add some images in there. It's only one image per message, so that's going to make it really easy, or a lot easier. And then next episode, we'll go through and get the GIFs working. I wanted to put it all together in one episode, but it was just going to be a little bit too long. So I went ahead and decided to split it up into image and then GIF. And then after we get all the message and stuff figured out, we'll go ahead and do the emojis, because that's just going to end up being text that gets sent, versus with the image and the GIF, we're going to do some extra work. So with that being said, let's go and hop into the code and get to work here. So today we're going to go ahead and start out inside of our create message bar component that we've been working on. The first thing that we need to go ahead and do is set up a message image inside here. So let's go ahead and go below the state here. We're going to go ahead and say const message image and set, message image is equal to use state. And this is going to be a file or null. And I don't really want to put this inside of our Redux slice because it's going to get mad at us that a file is not serializable. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and try to put it in here. And then from here, we want to go ahead and handle actually selecting it. So I'm just going to go down here below where our other focus and other ones are. We're going to say const handle and get image. And then here, we're going to go ahead and do this and say react.change event, maybe. And this is going to be on an HTML and then input element. And we're going to go ahead and set up our error function. Here it's going to say if we have an e.target.files. So if we have files, we're going to go ahead and say set message image to e.target.files of 0. So here we're going to set it up so that we can only input one file, so we should never have to worry about any other ones, but that's good to go. Next thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to set up a function for determining whether or not the send button should be active or not. So we're going to say const send active is equal to, and the reason behind this is as we add GIFs and other stuff, we want to go ahead and make sure that we can set this active in multiple ways. And I didn't want to be typing this out all over the place. So let's go ahead and return message content is not equal to an empty space, or we're going to go ahead and see if there's a message image in there, and then that'll go ahead and allow us to set that to send active or not. So that being said, we can go ahead and continue working here. So we're going to go ahead and come down to where our stuff is here, and around line 76, we have our message bar text area, I believe, and things might be slightly off here. Above the message content, we're going to add some curly braces, and we're going to go ahead and say what we're doing. I might have gotten things mixed up. So above our show actions, we're going to go ahead and add that div. We're gonna go ahead and say not message image, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this in a div. Let's go ahead and delete this stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and come down here because we're only gonna go ahead and show the actions if we don't have an image or a GIF later on. So that's what this is doing. And it's been a while since I wrote this code, so forgive me if I forget a little bit what's going on here, but we want to go ahead and check to see if we have a message before we go ahead and show the actions. Then from here, we're going to come down to where our media icon is. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I think we're going to go ahead and get rid of this create message bar icon, and we're going to go ahead and just turn this into a regular old div here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead, we'll keep this media, but inside this div, we're going to have an input with an on change equal to, and this is going to be handle get, image. And then we're going to go ahead and the type is going to be equal to file. We're going to have an ID equal to message dash image, and we're going to have accept equal to, and this is only going to accept image / star. If we only want to do specific image types, we could, and this is going to be hidden. So that's going to be like the actual input that we're clicking on. And then we're going to go ahead and have a label that we're going to click on, and it'll open up this input, and this is going to be HTML4 equal to, and this is going to be for image, and this is actually message dash image, like so. Class name will be equal to our create dash message bar icon wrapper. So we're still going to have the icon wrapper, except it's not going to be on a div. It's just going to be on a label. And then we're going to go ahead and take this guy here and get rid of that. And then let's also clean this up since I apparently typoed. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. And then here we're going to go ahead and paste that. Let's go ahead and just format. So that looks pretty good to me. We're going to go ahead and have our input that actually opens up the file. And then we're going to have a label which wraps around the media SVG and actually clicks on the input for us. So now with that being done, we want to go ahead and come down to where our send icon is down here. And instead of having the send icon active, yada, 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 what we're going to go ahead and do is here, we're going to go ahead and say send, active ? And go ahead and call that function. And then we'll go ahead and determine the class. And then same thing here, down here, we're going to go ahead and say send active, and then we'll go ahead and check. So then as we get going here, especially like in the next episode, we're going to also go ahead and add GIFs in there. It's going to get really long and really gross. So this should go ahead and clean that up quite a bit. With that being said, we can go ahead and set up the message component or the message image component specifically, which is going to be very simple, but it's going to allow us to go ahead and input the image into the message. So let's go ahead and open up our Explorer. Let's go into components. Let's go ahead and say message image / maybe message image.tsx, and then go ahead and once again say message image.css. Let's hop into the tsx. We'll go ahead and just import React from React. This is a pretty simple one. And then we'll go ahead and say interface message image props. Inside our interface, we're going to have an image, which is optional, of file, and then we'll also have a remove image, remove image, which is going to be a void function. And we're going to go ahead and set this up in a way that we should be able to modify and reuse it for GIFs in the next episode. So if things seem a little bit weird, that's probably why, but just kind of come with me here. We're going to go ahead and say export const message image is a react.fc, which is going to go ahead and take in our message image props. And then here we're going to go ahead and break apart our image and our remove image like so, and then go ahead and make our arrow function. And here we're going to go ahead and just return for now, and then this is going to be a div, the class name equal to message dash image dash container. I know it's a little bit strange, but again, just bear with me here, it'll make sense. Next, go ahead and have a dispatch. So const dispatch is an app dispatch, and this is going to be equal to use dispatch like so. And then we'll also then go have and had an open editor. So const open editor is equal to, and this is going to allow us to kind of either crop the image or allow us to like add alt tags and stuff, which is going to be something that we do a little bit later on. We're going to go ahead and dispatch update display, and this is going to be edit post image. And then this is going to go ahead and allow us to open up that. This might change a little bit later on, we'll see. So now inside of this other div, we're going to have another div, class name equal to message dash image. This is going to have a style, equal to double curly braces. We're going to have a background image. And then here we're going to have backticks URL, and then parentheses, quotes, and then say $ curly brace image URL, which I forgot to set up, so we'll set up in a second. So here we do need one last thing. We're going to go ahead and say const image URL is equal to image ? This will be window dot and then URL dot create object URL. This is something we have to do with the post as well. Pass in the image, otherwise it'll be nothing, just to be safe. And again, the reasoning behind this is going to be because I set it up to work with both, but we don't have the GIF set up yet, so kind of bear with me here. Next I have a div, class name equal to message image icon wrapper and message dash image dash edit and message dash image dash icon hover. It's a little bit messy, but it's because we're going to reuse some of the stuff, so bear with me here. On click is going to be open editor. And then in here, we're going to have an edit image SVG, but we had to go ahead and get that from Twitter. So I'm going to go ahead and wait on that. And then below this, we'll have a div, the class name equal to message dash image dash icon and message dash image dash remove. We're going to have message dash image dash icon hover. It's because basically the size of these are different, so we need to go ahead and set the height and width differently, but other than that, they're all going to act very similarly, so that's why we're doing it this way. On click is going to be equal to remove image, which we pass along, and then inside here we're going to have the close icon, which is going to come from our material UI. SX is going to equal to, we'll have a font size of 18px, and we're going to have a color of white. So go ahead and do that. And then we'll need to go ahead and bring in this other SVG. I'm going to give this a second to see if it fixes itself. Sometimes it's a little bit finicky. There we go. So now, like I said, we need an edit image SVG. And I'm surprised we don't actually have this, but I'm going to go ahead and log on to Twitter really quick, move it over, and I'll show you guys where to find this. So before we actually do that, let's go ahead and open up our Explorer and set up the component really quick. So we're going to go into components, SVGs, hit A, and this is going to be called edit image svg.tsx. Let's go ahead and import React. We're actually not going to import React, we're going to import svg. And I don't remember if it's lowercase. Props, it's all uppercase. svg props from our global interfaces. We're going to export the default function, edit, image svg, and this is going to go ahead and take in the props. Now we're going to return, and I'll show you guys where to get this from really quick. So let's hop onto Twitter. So on Twitter, I have one of these messages down here that I just started with my alt account. Going to go ahead and click on this image. We'll go ahead and just click on this guy. And then now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to inspect, and I'm going to go over here. It's kind of small, but I'm just going to go ahead and highlight over this SVG here. I'm going to go and right click, copy element, and we can go ahead and get rid of this guy. And then let's go ahead and paste it in, except it didn't paste it in. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, and I'll be right back. All right, everything's looking good. Now we need to go ahead and get rid of this class here. So let's go ahead and delete this class, as well as the style color. We'll go ahead and just add in our own color here later on. Go ahead and delete that. We do want to go ahead and say height is equal to props.height. We want the width equal to props.width. And then we want to go ahead and have the path, and path is going to be our, we're going to fill equal to, if I could type, props.color question mark, and it'll be props.color. Otherwise we'll just go with black, so pound 000. And then let me see what I did wrong with our svg props. So here, let's go ahead and make sure we use this. So we'll say svg props like so. Now we're good to go. Cool. So now let's go ahead and add that back into our message image component. So down here where this goes, we're going to go ahead and say edit image svg. This is going to have a height equal to 16. It'll have a width equal to 16. We're gonna have a color equal to white. So here we'll just go ahead and say FFF. Let's go ahead and make sure we put the pound, maybe pound FFF like so. And that is good to go. So that was a pretty simple image component. We're going to go ahead and expand upon this in the next episode, but this is going to get the job done today. So now let's go into the CSS and get that done. Before we do that, let's go ahead and import it though. So import /, and then message image.css. That way we're not scratching our head in a second. Let's go ahead and hop into the message image CSS. So here inside the message image CSS, we're going to start with the message-image. And here we're going to have a height equal to 150px. Whoops, I forgot the 0, 150. It's going to have a width of 150px. It's going to have a position of relative. It's going to have a border of none. It'll have a border dash radius of about 12px. This one was just a guess, but it looked pretty good. It's going to have a background, maybe, dash size of 150px. and 150px. We have a background, dash repeat of no dash repeat. And then we're gonna have a overflow of hidden. Okay, it's kind of acting weird, so hopefully everything's good. We'll have a message dash image dash and then icon dash wrapper. Here we'll have a display of flex, justified content in the center, align items in the center, border of none. It's a border dash radius of 100%, and then it's gonna have a background dash color of RGBA 0,0,0, and then 0.3. So this one is basically shared across all the different icon wrappers. However, the edit image and the other ones are slightly smaller or bigger than one another, so that's why they're different. I have a dot message image edit. So instead of copy and pasting all of this stuff again, we can just say like width 24px, height is 24px, position is absolute, and then we can have a top of 4px and a left of 4px, like so. Have a dot message image icon hover. I don't know why I did the hover before the remove, but it is what it is. So all of them have a cursor pointer, and all of them have a background dash color of RGBA, and I'm going 0, 0, 0, 0.5, so a little bit darker. Go dot message dash image dash remove. So again, this one will have a width of 30px, a height of 30px, and then we'll have a position of absolute. And then here our top will be 4px, and this time it's going to be right of 4px. So pretty simple. We'll add more CSS as we get going here. So now let's go ahead and hop into our create message bar and go ahead and add this and just see if everything's working. So let's hop back into create message bar. So inside of create message bar, we want this, I believe, above our message content, but let me just double check here. So yes, we're going to go ahead and above here, we're going to have a div. It's not going to have a class name. It's going to have a margin. It's going to have a style equal to margin left colon $ curly brace, and this is going to be message image. So this is a case question mark. We're going to go ahead and say 12px. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and have 0px. And hopefully I did this right. And then outside of here, hopefully this is all good. It's probably going to break something. We also need to go ahead and do backticks here. So backtick and backtick. There we go. And then inside of here, we might need to wrap the entire message content in this. I'm not quite sure. Let me just double check here. It's hard to tell where this is supposed to end. So I'm just going to go ahead and see what happens. We're going to go ahead and say message image, and we're going to go ahead and say message image, where the image is equal to our message image, and then remove image will be equal to, we're going to have an arrow function, and this is going to go ahead and say set message image, and this is going to go ahead and set that to null. And let's go ahead and make sure we close this off like that. And then we need to go ahead and bring in our message image. We might have a little bit of debugging here because I might have put this div in the wrong area, but let's just go ahead and see what happens whenever we go into our front end here, try to add an image. And if it doesn't look quite right, we'll go ahead and do some debugging and make it look right. So let's go and hop into the front end. Let's go and just refresh to make sure all the logic's there. Let's go and open up our messages, go to Rick. We can say like, look at this graph. Go ahead and click on this guy, click on this. So you can see it pops it up. If we click on this and open it. So obviously this isn't quite right because this should be above all of this stuff, but you can see kind of how this is looking. And even this CSS isn't quite right. So I did something wrong with the CSS, but let's see what's going on with this guy. Let me go back and just look at it and debug a little bit. This div should be outside of the create message bar. So let's go ahead and copy this, delete it, move it up here and paste it in CF, and then we need to go ahead and determine how far this div needs to go. So let me just double check that as well. It seems like this div needs to go just below the text area, so let's go ahead and delete this and bring this div down below the text area, which seems a little bit low Let's go ahead and format that and save it. And then let's just see what it looks like now to see if it's looking more proper. There we go. That's how it should look. Now there is something not quite going right with the CSS here. So let's hop back into the CSS for this image and see what's going on with that. So our message image, we have message image remove and message image icon. So it seems like the message image icon or message image remove is not working properly. Let's just go ahead and save this because I see message image icon and it looks like it's the same as the other one. Let's just double check that this is spelled properly and I'm not going crazy. Looks right. And then message image hover. Let's just double check message image hover as well. So let's go ahead and check this guy. Go ahead and save that. Let's check the CSS because if the CSS is working for the edit, it should be working for the remove as well. So let's just go ahead and check remove and stuff. So message image remove looks fine. Height, width, and message icon. Oh, you know what? I forgot the wrapper. I don't know if we need the wrapper. Let me double check this again. Yep, so that's what's going on. Let's go back into the TSX. So I forgot the wrapper. This one shouldn't be working. I don't know why this one is technically working. Go ahead and put the wrapper on that one as well. Save that. Let's just go ahead and check this one more time to make sure it's looking good. There we go. It looks a lot better. I know it's kind of hard to see with the activate windows, but it's working as you expect it to. It's in the top left corner, top right corner, and that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. I know it's going to be a little bit shorter one after I cut out all the debugging and everything, but with the GIFs, it takes a little bit more work. So whenever I add the two together, it's probably going to be like an hour long. So with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys do want to go ahead and see where we start from absolute nothing to get to the point we are now, there's a playlist and I'm going to go ahead and try to put in the ending credits that'll walk you through exactly where we started to now. So as always guys, this has been Ethan on Coder. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video.